What's up, guys? UFC China. Johnny Walker versus Ming Yang Zhang is this weekend, and I am here to give you guys my predictions breakdown and everything that I think is going to happen on the card, along with some betting advice. But first, I want to show you guys a way that you can make money by having watched my channel or anything at all, and by making fight picks. So come to Tapology.com, you'll create an account, and then you will join Tapology.com/groups/2048. That's my Tapology group. I pay out $100 to the winner weekly. Our winner last week was Big Stan. We've already paid that out. And we will be, doing the same thing for this event. He did really good in getting 8 out of the 12 fights right last week. We came in 6th place, so we didn't do so good. We're looking to redeem it and come back and take 1st place again, so we don't have to pay out anybody. Like I said, though, join Tapology.com/groups/2048, and then you guys are qualifying to make my money. And then you just have to come over here to edit picks and then save them, like we do in this video. You'll see. Anyways, let's go right into the video. Speaking of, we will start with the early prelims and end with the main event. We're going to just break it down now. With the first fight of the night, we've got Dair Nurgojai versus Yurin Satibaldiev. This is actually a pretty tough fight to call, in my opinion. Both guys having just debuted, lost their debut. I think Satibaldiev lost to Martin Budai, if I'm not mistaken, and then Bringenson Ribeiro for Dair Nurgojai. I think it's a hard fight to call, man, because Bringenson Ribeiro does have the smaller man skill, but and he did submit Nurgojai. And I'm pretty sure Nurgojai is this guy with this weird eye twitch thing he does over and over, and I'm just not gonna pick him to win, especially when we've had Satibaldiev submit somebody with the same thing that Nurgojai was just submitted with. I'm going to be picking Satibaldiev by round number 2 submission. I think that this is a pretty good pick, especially picking what looks to be a heavyweight. He's not. He fought at heavyweight, but he is also a light heavyweight, if I'm not mistaken. I'm picking Yurin Satibaldiev to win this fight by submission. I think he's going to get the fight to the ground and end up using his higher skill level to win the fight, submitting his opponent. Moving on to two Asian dudes. We've got Long Zhao versus Su Young Yu. And if you know how I pick MMA fights, we're picking Su Young Yu because he is South Korean. I don't like picking other Asian I don't like picking Chinese or Japanese fighters in specifics. I really don't like picking them. South Korean fighters tend to be a little more at a higher skill level when they enter the UFC. Even when these other guys have some massive credentials. I think that I will be picking Su Young Yu, and I think I'm going to pick him by decision. He typically decisioned all of his road to the UFC opponents. And I think he's going to be able to get the decision here against Long Zhao. I know nothing about either of these two guys, to be honest, and don't care to learn more unless they start getting on a run. And Su Young Yu looks like the one that would be able to do so in this case. Anyways, moving on to the featherweight division, we have Yiza versus Weston Wilson. Are they really about to make me do this? Am I really going to pick Weston Wilson? Because Yiza hasn't beaten anyone that is actually UFC level, whereas Weston Wilson hasn't either, technically. I don't know. I think that Yiza will probably... he's a submission guy too. Honestly, if he can't submit Weston Wilson's gonna win the decision. I've got Weston Wilson beating Yiza because he's Asian and he's not South Korean, I guess. This is a massive underdog opportunity. Um, I, my reasoning for this is legitimately neither one of them have beaten UFC caliber opponents, and Weston Wilson has at least fought John Silva and Joe Anderson Brito. And I think that Yiza hasn't fought anybody skilled or good, and the guy's like, I don't know. You'll see, maybe. Anyways, that's all I want to go into this fight. I don't have any technique breakdown for this. Weston Wilson is not very good. His submission game's pretty solid, but his stand-up's bad, and Yiza I know absolutely nothing about. Finally, let's get to some fights that we understand and know how to call. Michel Pereira versus Kyle Daukaus, the return of the Darce Knight. He is back officially in the UFC, riding a 4-fight winning streak. He was just cut a couple years ago, and he's already on his way, or made his way back into the UFC. You like to see it from guys like Daukaus, being able to work their way back into the UFC. But I do think that even with all this work that he's done, he's going to fall victim to Michel Pereira in the first round. I just don't. Michel Pereira's too explosive, athletic, and unless Anthony Fluffy Hernandez really did break this man's mental, Michel Pereira should blow through Kyle Daukaus, especially at the skill level he had been at. I'm rooting for Kyle Daukaus, though. I hope he gets a big win here. I do think Michel Pereira will finish him in the very first round with punches. If he doesn't, he's going to hurt Daukaus to the body with a big shot and then submit him after he crumbles to the ground, something like that. Look for Michel Pereira to come back to Michel Pereira form, if you will. Anyways, out of the middleweight division, we're going down to the lightweight division. We've got Rong Zhu versus Austin Hubbard. Like John Anik said, you've got the wrong Jew. I keep struggling to want to pick any of these Chinese fighters. But this is Austin Hubbard. But Austin Hubbard had a very close, very, very close split decision to Markel Medeiros and Alexander Hernandez. I could see him getting the win here against Rong Zhu. That's what's crazy. I'm going to pick Rong Zhu as my honorary Chinese pick of the night. But don't think that I don't question whether I'm wrong here or not. Anyways, I've got Rong Zhu winning by, we're going to go with decision. I think we're going to get a split decision. Rong Zhu does have some skill. It is why I do want to pick him. And Austin Hubbard's just riding this not good momentum lately. But maybe he comes out and wins a big fight because he's been fighting very close with these guys who are pretty solid, and Rong Zhu is not that, honestly. Moving to the flyweight division, we've got my personal fight of the night. I think this is going to be a really good fight. We've got Lonnie Kavanaugh versus Charles Johnson. I think Charles Johnson's length and range is going to give Lonnie Kavanaugh issues in maybe the first round, and maybe the third round, the cardio issues of Lonnie Kavanaugh might come up again. But I think that the grappling, if it really comes down to it, Lonnie Kavanaugh's just better everywhere. His grappling, his striking, both far better than Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson right now, his way to win this is to be the gangly, long flyweight that just kind of can land shots that the other guy can't, being 5'4" and you being 5'9". I think that Lonnie Kavanaugh is going to win this fight. I think it will be by unanimous decision. And I think that his speed and athleticism are going to be a little too much. The leg kicks are going to be problems for Charles Johnson. Like I said, I do think Charles Johnson's length and range is going to be a massive problem for Lonnie Kavanaugh, but I think that's going to be more of a first round, maybe third round kind of thing if Kavanaugh starts to get tired, but then he can start grappling. Or he can continue to use his grappling if he already had been. I have Kavanaugh winning by decision. I think this should be a fairly solid, easy fight for him to win outside of the, moments of weirdness of dealing with Charles Johnson. Um, Welcome back, Lemon. Jesus Christ, you fucking tank. Lonnie Kavanaugh, I have him winning by unanimous decision. Moving on to the lightweight division, we've got Mahashate versus Gage Young. I will be picking. Jesus. This guy lost to Vyacheslav. Neither fighter being too great, we're going to pick Gage Young. And, how do we win typically? KO? Alright, we'll pick Gage Young by KO. We're going to pick round number 1. He's going to come out hot. I don't know anything about these two guys. I'm going to be honest. Well, I know about Mahashate, but I just don't think he's a very good fighter. And Gage Young being very, very new to the UFC, I just am not sure if I want to pick him, but I have to, it feels like. So, Gage Young by KO, round number 1. And then let's move into the very first fight of the main card. We have Tayaleki versus Nurajai versus Kiefer Crosby. Easy name to say. I will not be picking Nurajai because we haven't quite made our UFC debut yet. Nah, I don't know. We lost to Sam Patterson, Kevin Jousset, George Karakarian. You know what? I think I'm picking another Asian dude. He wins by KOs a lot. But there was a submission there. Armbar? I don't know. I don't know this dude at all. And Kiefer Crosby's striking's alright. But I'm going to pick Nurajai by round number 1 knockout. I think he's going to be too much for Kiefer Crosby. And if he doesn't knock out Kiefer, I think he's going to submit him. Kiefer Crosby does seem to have a massive hole in his game when it comes to submission defense. And I'll be picking Talaki Nurajai by round 1 KO. Get over how I say his name. Speaking of, Sumer Darji versus Kevin Borjas. I'm going to be picking Kevin Borjas to win this fight by unanimous decision. His striking was very on point in his last fight. It looked very good against Ronaldo Rodriguez, although he was coming off of a 2-fight losing streak right before that to Alessandro Costa and Josh Van. But we had a 3-fight losing streak for Sumer Durji, and I also just can't stand you losing to Matt Schnell. That is a loss that I just cannot accept. He has been submitted in 2 of his 3 fights that he's lost recently. I'm going to be picking him to lose a decision to Kevin Borjas. I don't think Borjas' submission game is good enough to submit Sumer Durji. But, yeah, I'm going to pick Borjas to win. I think he's going to be the faster on the feet of the 2 guys. I could see Sumer Durji using his grappling to kind of win the fight, though, if it came to it. I have Kevin Borjas winning by unanimous decision. Moving on to the heavyweight division in a absolute potential banger, or Waldo Cortes-Acosta will be using his odd, awkward style to kind of frustrate and slow down the fight for Sergey Pavlovich. I could see Sergey grappling, But I think this is going to be a very good fight. Waldo Cortes-Acosta has a very good chin, so I kind of am thinking about picking decision here. Um, but this is racially motivated Pavlovich, if you remember right. Um, but he wasn't able to finish Jairzinho either. I I'm gonna be picking Sergey Pavlovich to win this fight by decision. But don't think for a second that I have this as like a lock or anything, because I think Waldo Cortez Acosta is a very solid heavyweight. Um, I've said this last time he fought, man. This guy is actually good, and I'm gonna start picking him. But they put him against Sergey Pavlovich, and I have a hard time picking against Pavlovich. Um, yeah, shorter with a longer reach too. I like that for Pavlovich. Um, I'm actually going to pick him to win by round 2 KO. I think he's going to get Cortez Acosta out of here, actually. Once he starts landing some clean shots in that second round and starts battering, first round. It's going to be first round. Sorry again. First round, once he starts landing some clean shots with that longer reach and everything, starts finding his range, he's just going to batter Cortez Acosta. But like I said, don't be surprised if Acosta does actually pull this out. It may be by decision at that point, though, because he may probably use grappling. Moving on to the co-main event of the evening. This is a 5-round fight. Do not forget that. This is one of the few 5-round co-main events that we've ever had, and just as a fight, not a title fight. It is Brian Ortega versus Aljamain Sterling. I have a strange suspicion that Aljamain Sterling has this fight locked. Like this is going to be an Aljamain Sterling decision, in my opinion. If it's not a decision, I could actually see him hurting Brian Ortega, but I just can't see him finishing him in any way, shape, or form, honestly. Outside of maybe Ortega injuring him or being injured in some way, shape, or form, and him just like giving up in his normal fashion in that sense. I could see Aljo slowing down, him being 36 now, but his grappling is just always so freaking good, man. His fight against Movsar, he looked so high level in his grappling. I'm just not sure that Brian Ortega is going to be able to keep up with that. I could see Ortega hurting him on the feet, though, but I have Aljo winning this by decision. I think he's going to grapple Ortega just all over the place. His odd, awkward striking is going to give Ortega some problems, too. It's not just Ortega who's going to have a strict advantage on the feet. Aljo's awkward striking gives a lot of people problems, man. So, I have Aljo winning by unanimous decision. I don't think there's really a finish for this fight. If there's a finish happening in this fight, I honestly think it would be Ortega that gets the finish. Now, let's move to the main event of the evening. We have Johnny Walker versus Ming Yang Madness in Ming Yang Zhang. Ming Yang Zhang's on a massive win streak, all KOs. I think every single fight he's ever won is by first round KO. And Johnny Walker's on a 2-fight losing streak, in one which, in the third fight, he did get almost finished as well. But yeah, I feel like Ming Yang Zhang's just on that insane tear right now. I think that Johnny Walker's just on his way out, sadly. Being 33, being on this massive losing streak. Yeah, you have to pick Ming Yang Zhang by round 1 knockout unless you're just expecting Johnny Walker to come in with a completely different plan, and he just doesn't seem to get better fight through fight, and it sucks because I really, really like Johnny Walker. He's one of my favorite fighters to watch. He's entertaining, he's funny, but he's mainly funny in watching him get knocked out. I would like to see him become a more skilled fighter and get better and better and better, but he just kind of feels like chooses not to. I have Ming Yang Zhang by round number 1 knockout. Let's go back over my picks so that you guys can either follow them for betting or figure it out. I'll kind of go by my confidence as well with these. So for the main event, I have Ming Yang Zhang by round number 1 knockout. I'm very confident in that. I have a 90% confidence level that that's going to happen. Aljo versus Brian Ortega. I have Aljo winning this fight. I think it's going to be a unanimous decision. I kind of lock that in as well. These are my 2 easy locks, in my opinion, of this fight card. Sergey Pavlovich fight, round 1 KO against Waldo Cortes-Acosta. I don't think I'm going to lock that at all. I think this is a pretty worrisome matchup. Cortes-Acosta can use some game planning. He's shown game planning in the past already. And he is one of those few fighters that will adjust to you he will adjust how he fights on you. So I do think this is not a lock. Waldo is a good heavyweight that can game plan for his opponents. Sumer Darji versus Kevin Borjas. I've got Kevin Borjas winning by unanimous decision. I don't think this is a lock, but I do have some solid confidence in this. I just don't like Sumer Darji. I think he's not a very good fighter, and I think Kevin Borjas is a good fighter, but just ran into a couple guys that he couldn't handle early in his career. Nurajai versus Kiefer Crosby. Stay away from this one, in my opinion, just based on what I have picked. I don't know this fighter. I picked Nurajai to win by round number 1 KO. Kiefer Crosby is just not on the level, I think. Mahashate versus Gage Young. Don't bet on this one either. Gage Young being a unproven fighter and Mahashate being a not good fighter. You don't want to put money on either one of these guys unless it's just for like a little sprinkle to hope that, whoever the underdog is kind of see it's even close here. Stay away from this fight. Lonnie Kavanaugh versus Charles Johnson. I have Lonnie Kavanaugh winning by unanimous decision. I think that Charles Johnson's length and everything like that will give him some problems. He's actually a solid underdog to sprinkle a little bit of cash on. I wouldn't do too much though. But Charles Johnson could actually give Lonnie Kavanaugh some problems. So my confidence level isn't too high, but it is. I'm very confident that Lonnie Kavanaugh will win, but the length and range of Charles Johnson and experience level can give him some issues. So I could see Charles Johnson winning the fight. I would stay away from it unless you're going to sprinkle a little money on Charles Johnson. Rong Zhu versus Austin Hubbard. Stay away from this fight. I've got Rong Zhu winning. I don't like picking Chinese fighters to win fights as a confidence measure. Michelle Pajeda versus Kyle Dawkins. I am very confident in this pick unless Kyle Dawkins has really, really, really leveled up his game. I think Michelle Pajeda is going to cut through him very easily. That's why he's a massive favorite as well. I could see Dawkins winning in some way, shape, or form, but I just don't. It would have to be him having gotten so much better. Michelle Pajeda should finish him. I would put a little money on a Michelle Pajeda submission, maybe. Yeza versus Weston Wilson. I would stay away from this fight. Put a little bit of money on Weston Wilson. Maybe sprinkle him here and there on a parlay. Here and there. Don't put him in all of them because that's insane. Weston Wilson has a solid chance to win this fight, though, because Yeza seems to be a grappler, and Weston Wilson's A game is grappling. So I have him by unanimous decision, but I could also see him getting a submission. Long Zhao versus Su Young Yu. I have Su Young Yu winning by unanimous decision. I think this is a very easy pick. I don't like picking Chinese fighters, and South Korea, they always bring real fighters to this game. I have confidence in this pick, and I would put a little bit of money on it. Deir Nurgojai versus Urin Satibaliev. I have Satibaliev by submission, round number 2. I wouldn't say it's super confident, but I do think he's not a full-on lock to beat Deir Nurgojai, but I have a high confidence that he will. These are my picks for the fights. Yeah, I hope you guys join the Tapology, make your fight picks, and maybe you'll win some of my money. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys for the Fight Companion early Saturday morning. I hope you guys are ready for that. Yeah. Bye.